There's some nerds. How are y'all?
Hey, Vincent.
I resemble that remark.
Hello, hello.
Like that shirt, Josh. How do you know what the rest of it says? I just like how it starts.
No, it's just y'all.
Perfect.
I don't think I'm actually signed in as open containers this time. Just fine unless you need to mess with the recording features. How's everybody doing?
Still here.
I mean, that's got it. Oh,
Apparently somebody else is here too.
That took my dogs.
How about no, it's not working.
We can kind of hear you.
Ah,
What's the? Do we have stuff to talk about or
no, I don't have
not
anything.
stuff?
I don't have anything to talk about. I'm just well, I have an announcement maybe.
Nisha, I heard you when you first said hello, but I can hardly hear you right now.
I do not know what's happening.
Just scream.
Not my style.
So who added the data store or the data field?
Me again. Oh, I should put my name next to that. I added this because Sam told me to. But I mostly wanted to see what ECR concerns were about it.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I think we had outstanding hearing from the ACR and ECR folks, and Sajay just comment, or not just, but commented thumbs up from the ACR side. I don't know if we have folks on the call from ECR this time.
I'll wait all
Doesn't
day.
look like it.
I think less representation than last time.
Just tickled that my dog set off Sajay's dogs. The internet at its finest.
The internet of dogs.
Internet of dogs, the best internet.
I keep seeing these like smart callers advertised to me. Does anyone have those? It seems weird. I don't know.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Internet attached dog.
Our dog's not very mobile, so it's not something we probably need, but
So, Mike Brown, we got an AWSer here at least. Here, we might want to check in and see thoughts on ECR.
we're all here for you.
Just you, nobody else.
I think it sounds great.
Okay, merge.
Awesome.
Wait, is that it?
I don't really. I guess what is the question?
Yeah, I was supposed to write a summary and I didn't, so that's my fault.
Mike, can you see the link to the?
Yeah.
We
So
have
the data. I guess to summary, I don't know if I've seen all the latest changes, but to summarize, we want to add a data field. We can still expect that clients will upload those blobs, at least for now. And so all that we need to do is add support for this field, or maybe just add support for unspecified fields as the spec asks us to, and we currently don't. But either of those would allow the data field to happen.
Either
I think
of
that's
those.
it.
Yeah, I don't see any issues with that.
All right.
Merge.
Mission accomplished. Well, now it's a problem of finding a maintainer. on the
Congratulations.
internet. Thank
Did
you.
wait, was that a merge in the meeting, or?
It might be. Now since that's kind of green lighted, just to see if there is any last notes that might have needed to be touched up. Because at some point with conversations like this, there end up being like lingering updates, but nobody wants to do the touches unless they have general consensus to
And
go ahead with it.
we could validate the data, and the data field also matches the digest, but we don't have to.
That's right.
Yeah, I think last week we discussed explicitly that registries may validate, but there's no requirement. And it's up to the client to actually ensure that the content matches the blob digest. So there's no expectation on the registry to do anything. You could for good purposes, but spec doesn't require it.
Can I also ask, like, when we merge this, is that it is now part of the spec, or is it we merge this and then at some point we cut a new spec release?
Yeah, we have to-
Effectively the second one, like most folks who are involved here are usually already have tested something like it. So when it merges here, they have it staged or can play with it. But technically, until it's like tagged, then it's not there. And even then, there's no hard requirement on like how close you're lagging or otherwise. But effectively the second one you said there.
I mean, practically, I probably won't be able to start using this until ECR allows it. So, like, doesn't matter when we cut the release so much as if you'll support this number. Which is why it's more important for me to talk to you than actually get this merged, I think.
Okay. I will start working on getting some folks on board with doing this.
Oh, Nisha, sorry. So various situations where I'm storing like a text document in a registry that's, say, under 1,000 bytes. It is faster than to just embed that in the manifest than to have to fetch the manifest and then ask for a blob, get redirected to a blob store, and then download that from the blob store.
Cool. So next steps on this one is just to finish a quick look over. Then Vince, I think you've got access to merge this once you finish that, right?
If there's no updates needed, it's got
Got a lot of comments.
one. Well, yes, but it's got one LGT on. I'm just saying if he bumps it, then
I had approval once, and I addressed some comments, and then now I don't have approval.
right. My only question is there any other comments or whatever to it?
There's one unresolved thread that like I'm satisfied with my answers, obviously, to the thread, but if TNON is not, then I'm happy to rev changes and then with people.
So happens that when Tiana and Gravy is on this call.
I have no memory of this place, so it's probably not important. But just for you, John, I will pull up the PR and see if I'm satisfied with your answer.
I love this community.
After I reread what it
He will-
was that
he
I
will-
cared about.
He will consult himself and get back to you. Yeah.
If we merge this by March 12th, it's going to be less than a year old. So that's great.
I appreciate the genuine appreciation there and sarcasm. The
Well,
same.
I think it's expected that standards bodies move slowly.
All right, so that would be in the image spec, and really the questions are as far as registries being conformant. So
And I think today, any registry that doesn't do any kind of deep filtering like we're looking at on the ECR side, this is just going to work. There's no changes for any existing registries.
Yeah, I've done too much validation on other registries before because I hadn't read through the entire image spec and understood it. So I think that's not uncommon. But if you're lazy, then you wouldn't have done extra validation and it should just work.
Yeah, I'm not casting blame or anything like that. I'm just pointing out that this isn't a breaking change for most everybody. It should just work.
and it's worth acknowledging that even with that issue where a manifest could look like either an index or a manifest list, that because of some of this behavior, ECR wasn't as susceptible to that particular issue. I appreciate the flexibilities for these kind of conformances and being able to play nicely with others.
There are pros and cons. Such is life.
I mean, honestly, if we don't accept this PR, John's probably just going to use an annotation anyways. So either way, this is happening. We might as well ratify it.
I don't want to hold anybody hostage or anything. I just think it's a good idea.
I think that was my job. I'm supposed to be holding the hostages.
Okay.
And I'm not a maintainer.
Are we like live reviewing your comment, or is this asynchronous?
Either way, I just read through and didn't quite grok, so I've stamped it. So we're
Deanna, did you get a chance to review your
Oh.
concerns?
Yep, I commented. I'm good.
I will add some guidance and a follow-up.
That'd be sweet.
I'd also like to figure out how to use URLs fields.
Yes. I think that horse is so thoroughly died that we can officially use the URL field. I'm not sure. We'd have to have some Docker use how and whether people are actually still using that for.
Didn't Red Hat use it at one point? Well, not URLs fields specifically, but non-distributable layers. Or am I thinking of like Oracle? I know Microsoft does somewhere. I tried to use it, and someone was like, "No, that's only for Microsoft." And I was like, "No, you're wrong. This is the spec." I think it's hard to like distinguish how things are versus like how they're supposed to be per the language.
I think that if I'm remembering correctly, Red Hat ended up working around that by having top level like business to business negotiated 302s on the Docker Hub.
Oh, that's cool.
Because in Red Hat's like EULA or otherwise was like the level of support, so that if you're fetching binaries that Red Hat compiled but from another source, then it like implies a certain level of support. So if you want to be fully compliant with the license, you have to fetch Red Hat compiled binaries from Red Hat servers. So to be able to pull like the rel image, it needed to come from Red Hat. So if you like pulled it from the Docker Hub, you actually got a 302 and fetched the blob from Red Hat instead.
That's cool.
But we wanted to use the foreign layers in the beginning for that. But
yeah.
So we are making progress in Windows on removing foreign layers. It's a business level decision, and that's been progressing. So it's slower, but it is happening.
Oh,
so, and then once the decision is made, it's going to take some time, obviously, because people use older versions for a while. But at some point in the future, near future, we will no longer be using the foreign layer feature. Because of all the problems, it doesn't work for cross registries. It doesn't work for air gap. It doesn't work in cross clouds. There's a long host of issues that have created more usability issues than the benefit of it was there.
Are we thinking of marking the non-exportable layers as deprecated when that happens?
I would hope so, but I know from a Windows perspective, there'll be, there's the tail of usage. So I don't think we'll be able to do that for a while. I think it would be good to recommend, like, don't use this feature. It was a good idea. Like maybe it switches to reserved, like we did with the data field.
Yeah, I don't think we can pull it out of the spec just because there's always going to be an image out there somewhere. But having something that just says, we don't recommend this would be nice.
I think it's
exactly.
a nice feature. I just wish it wasn't part of the media type. But maybe I'm weird.
So since that got approved so easily and we have a few extra minutes here, I threw a real-time PR out there. It just needs an extra set of eyes. Should be a quick one. 898 fixing the broken charter link. I'm hoping it's quick. I'm hoping that since it's in the charter file itself and changing that hopefully isn't forbidden to just fix a link.
Not forbidden.
That was easy.
Sometimes an easy button works.
I like the easy buttons. That was
Oh,
everything on today's agenda. What you got, Vince?
things have slowed down. I'm sorry that I haven't been more present in all the community and calls and otherwise. I think I'm honestly still getting my feet under me here, but last call, I think I felt like a space cadet.
I guess other than that, if folks don't have something else for their quick update on the working group, we're starting to go through proposals right now. And so we're looking at the various different options there will be, and we're going to try to standardize how we look at those. So Josh, I'm sure you'll throw more cool details out there at some point and we can sort out how all this stuff makes it look pretty incomparable.
Yeah, I was hoping to throw out that this morning, but hopefully by end of day and people can look at that template. But thanks for putting that up, Brandon. I think that's really good to have as like the other end of the scale.
Yep. So if anybody is interested in that and hasn't been following along, that's what's coming up next.
Is anyone in this meeting that is not in the reference types working group meeting?
I haven't made it to most of those meetings. It's on my calendar. I just haven't. It's just ends up getting a calendar collision.
I was concerned for a while it'd just be a repeat of this call, but it does feel like it's becoming its own thing. The two calls were doing different things.
That's good, I guess.
But I do think we can give summaries on this call for people who don't have that time.
Yeah, I didn't have a prepared summary. It's just the quick, whatever was in my head recap, which was, we started saying we need to decide how we can compare all the different existing proposals together. And so we got 4 of them out there. One of them being no change at all. One of them being the original one I think Dan put up there of how you can put a reference type on existing objects. I'm not sure we got 2 others in there. I might be missing the one that Steve was working on, one other somewhere out there, but we've at least agreed to a framework of how we can start putting that stuff together.
I think I have the action to submit a rubric document or something like that. But that dovetails into the fact that I am also leaving my current employer, and so I also have hardware shifts going on, and that's why it's taking me a bit to get it up there, and I apologize for that.
No apologies needed. Congrats on change coming up, I guess. You say leaving, you didn't say you're joining, so I don't know if that's congrats on new or congrats on a vacation.
Oh, well, I guess congrats on new. So this is, and since I'm in the TOB, I guess, I don't think there's going to be any change with that, but I don't think that's.
It's fine.
Yeah, okay.
It's a little gray, and especially given some of the confusion we had with this last vote of like when there's nominations by current company seats versus the community nominated, but it's still ultimately at the end of the day the humans that are representing, not the other way around.
Sounds good. Thank you.
It's going to leave us hanging.
Of course.
Of course.
Recorded, posted to
Still the
YouTube.
recording.
Yeah.
Fresh Twitter.
Let's have the real conversation.
Yeah, update your LinkedIn feed.
That's right. That's right. Good. I also
Well,
just merged
congratulations.
something else. So good. All right. Somebody else want to do any other kind of pruning right now? I was looking at some of the other issues you have here. I went ahead. I totally missed it. Stephen had commented back about the supported Go versions and one of the PRs that he'd had out for a minute. Nope. Good. I think it's better to have folks get 30 minutes back to their cognitive time. There's a lot going on to pay attention to. So
There is. Have a good week, everybody.
Thank you.
cheers, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, guys.
There it is again. That funny feeling. That funny feeling.